This guy scammed me, so I ruined his life. Story time. So I used to be a private investigator, and about 3 years ago, I was hired to do a personal contract. The client was a super rich, sleazy snob, so we'll call him Steve. He hired my unit because he believed that his wife was cheating on him. And he was doing this so he could start the divorce process with some solid evidence. So he hired us for a 6-month contract, and he was to pay X amount at completion of the contract. So we set up surveillance all over their house and in the wife's car as well. And we had at least one member of the team watching her at all times. Day and night, we were watching their lives. So as time goes on, we're watching her and we very quickly realise that this woman is actually such a saint. For example, she volunteered at a soup kitchen. She also did some work at a children's hospital. One night, she even went out with one of the churches and did a canned food drive. And she did so many more, they're just the ones that I can remember. It was literally the definition of what a good human should be. On the other hand, the husband was a total arsehole. In fact, he was the one we caught bringing women home. And it was bad. It was sometimes like 2 or 3 a day. And that was only the stuff we managed to get from the surveillance in the house. So we arrived at the 4-month mark of the contract. This is basically where we show the client what we found and a bit of a report. So my agency go into this meeting with like 6 hours worth of video and audio reports. We then go to debrief and we basically say, look, we didn't find anything on her, maybe just 2 little parking tickets and then a speeding fine. But other than that, she'd done absolutely nothing wrong. And after we concluded the debrief, he looked stupefied. And he turns to us and says, so you didn't catch her cheating? What the hell was the point of me hiring you then? Like, weird flex, bro, but okay. So my boss, which is our captain, turns to him with what I can only describe as the most badass stare. You asked us to follow your wife and now you're mad that your wife is a faithful woman. And Steve became visibly annoyed by this statement. And he stands up and starts getting his jacket ready to leave. And we were like, look, there's still 2 months left of the contract, so we'll keep tailing her and see what we can find. And that was when our friend Steve turns round and says, don't bother, this is over. He says, you can come and pick your equipment up when she's not in the house and get out. So a week later, we went and did just that and we went to go get our stuff. So with our contract, you pay a small amount at the start as a commission fee and then you get the rest at the end of the contract. In Steve's case, that's 6 months. So let's fast forward to the payday after the contract finished. So my group gets a call from the office to come in on the next payday because there is an emergency. And it's regarding us and guess who? Everyone's favourite client, Steve. So we get there and find out that Steve had refused to pay and pulled all funding. So yeah, we were still going to get paid, but we wouldn't get that completion bonus. Naturally, we all left super angry. So we went for lunch and we brainstormed on how we could get even with our best pal Steve. And that was when we remembered that we had the footage of sneaky little slithery snake Steve doing the deed with those other women from his house. So the first thought was blackmail, but that was low and we were better than that. That was when we remembered Steve's wife. So I set a date so that we could sit down with her and explain everything that had happened. So I ended up showing the wife the videos. And, you know, unsurprisingly, she cried for a solid half hour. I think we must have broken her whole world and it was absolutely gut-wrenching to watch. We gave her a copy of all the evidence and a good lawyer and we encouraged her to reach out to them. Fast forward another 6 months, I'm beep boop called into court because my company is suing him for fraud, breaking a contract and not paying his fees. Unsurprisingly, we won the case because his lawyer's argument was that we didn't deliver the result he was wanting. Obviously, we're not there to deliver a product, we're there to just observe and record what happens. Anyway, the wife ended up contacting me eventually. She did actually go through with the divorce and she basically got everything because of all the evidence. She got the house, all of the cars and a huge payout from him. We actually bumped into each other in a mall about 6 months ago and we caught up over coffee. Anyway, the tea now is that we're now dating. It's so comforting knowing you've got someone there that you can trust.